So far, FEMA has distributed more than $500 million in financial help to victims of Hurricane Ian.
But some homeowners are in situations where they may be forced to pay for losses out of pocket. We met a woman in the process of relocating to Cape Coral who fears she may now lose everything. ABC Action News in-depth reporter Stassy Olmos is taking action to get answers from FEMA on who qualifies for help.
That house you bought in February, when did you buy this house?
We just closed on this September 22nd.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe your reaction to Tammy Vetter's story as well.
And the door's really hard to open.
She's from Minnesota. In February of 2022, she and her husband bought this home in Cape Coral, slowly transitioning their jobs and lives to the Sunshine State. Then they found their forever home just down the street, listing the first home for sale and closing on the second, 5 days before Hurricane Ian hit. She's standing, but...
Yes, she is. Yeah, she was flooded.
Not just one home, but both homes flooded.
We had about 6.5 inches of water in here. You can see that all the paint is starting to bubble and peel.
In her new home, you can see mud dried over the surface of her back deck, small fish living in her swimming pool, even new cracks on the ceiling.
Soffits came out, and I think just the pressure from the storm sucked our insulation out.
Unfortunately, Vetter says she hadn't been able to adjust her property insurance on this home yet, so coverage is minimal. She showed me an email from her broker 8 days before the storm stating after the dust settles with closing, we can review your coverages a little more in depth to make sure it's what you want. For now, all lender requirements should be satisfied. I reached out to the broker via email to ask if he was not able to fulfill Vetter's insurance request prior to closing and why. He responded simply saying no. While the first home has both flood and homeowners coverage through bankers, it doesn't have personal property coverage.
Because we just bought this house in end of February, almost everything is brand new.
After the storm, she waited nearly 4 hours in the FEMA line at the Disaster Recovery Center to be told she doesn't qualify for their assistance.
We were told by FEMA, because we're not legal residents here yet, that they won't help us. And she said it doesn't cover vacation homes, second homes.
Vetter and her family have been cleaning the two homes themselves, trying to fix what they can, but they can't afford to pay the deductibles between both homes, costing almost $40,000.
That's all I could think of is that, I've been working since I was 13 years old, and it's like everything could be gone.
I went to FEMA to ask about Vetter's situation. A spokesperson tells me in a complicated circumstance like this, homeowners may need more documentation and can always file an appeal.
A written request to FEMA and to review the file again. And then, of course, then you're able to go over all of the information with the explanation that you just provided, that they're, between homes and making that change. It's oftentimes just a matter of getting the records updated.
While Vetter's story seems like a rare series of unfortunate events, many people will be stuck paying out of pocket after Ian for various reasons, including not having flood insurance, high deductibles, and vacation homes.
Vacation home, becomes a little bit iffy because generally it's a home that you would occupy. Now, if you have renters that may be in the home, then the services are available for that as well.
You see the water lines here on the house. Hopefully we can find some programs that will help. Maybe FEMA will start opening it up, because I know there's a lot of people that are snowbirds and second homes, and you are a part of this community, whether if you're down here 6 months or 12 months.
In Cape Coral, I'm in-depth reporter Stassy Olmos, taking action for you.
And Hurricane Ian caught a lot of homeowners off guard in Southwest Florida who are now realizing they were underinsured, especially with flood insurance. I spoke with Jake Holhouse today from HH Insurance Group in St. Pete. He told me a lot of homeowners are discovering their high deductibles are putting them on the hook for tens of thousands of dollars in repairs. And many folks who do have flood insurance only opt for the bottom requirement of $250,000 worth of flood coverage, which many times is not enough.
10 years ago, that did a lot from a coverage standpoint. Unfortunately, today, with today's cost of construction, $250,000 is not going very far in terms of coverage. And so what's unfortunately occurring is a lot of people are learning that they're underinsured or that they didn't have any insurance because they elected not to purchase flood.
A Whole House told me in many instances, free FEMA money only applies to low-income households. Most others will have to apply for disaster relief loans and eventually pay that money back. We felt the power of Hurricane Ian firsthand. Many people came home to find their homes damaged or even destroyed. And like we mentioned, you need different types of insurance when storms hit. Let's start with hurricane insurance. That only covers the damages caused by strong winds of a hurricane. So if the wind rips off your siding or shingles, your policy would reimburse you. That also includes downed trees causing damage to your home. One thing it will not cover is rising waters. For that, you will need flood insurance. Flood insurance covers the contents of your property as well as the building itself. If you live in a high-risk area, you may have to pay more for that type of insurance. In Florida, the hurricane deductible applies once the storm becomes a named hurricane by the National Hurricane Center. You also can't get coverage once it's named. It also ends 72 hours after the last hurricane watch or warning is lifted.